As the legend goes, a long time ago when God was giving out land to people, He rewarded the Georgians for their hospitality with a blessed land that He was preserving for Himself, and commanded them to look after this blissful spot. Georgia's position is truly unique. Located between the Black and Caspian Seas, this small and incredibly beautiful country is protected by high mountain ranges in the north and the south. It's got everything: snow-glazed mountains and subtropical areas, alpine meadows and deserts, dense forests, fertile plains, and natural mineral springs with miraculous healing waters. The rich cultural traditions of this land are passed on from generation to generation with great care. Winemaking is the greatest national legacy, and Georgians have engaged in it for over 8,000 years. Georgia is the land of monasteries. Christianity and winemaking have always been very closely intertwined here, and monks were the greatest winemakers of the ancient times. Supposedly, it was the Virgin Mary herself who extended a blessing to Saint Nina for a campaign on Georgia and gave her a crucifix with slightly drooping tips made from a grapevine. Georgia is one of the earliest sources of grapevine and the cradle of viniculture. In spite of ruinous enemy raids, Georgia has maintained unique varieties of grapes that do not exist anywhere else in the world. A total of 525 grape varieties are found here. Let's transport ourselves to a 15th century Georgian household. Differently sized ceramic jars, kvevri, were used for wine fermentation and storage. Their fabrication is an art of its own accord. The clay used to manufacture kvevri contained limestone with traces of gold, copper, and silver, which served as natural antiseptics. Layer by layer, the clay was applied to the vessel, and it took 3 months to make one kvevri. Subsequently, they were baked in a furnace coated with beeswax on the inside so that small pores were left for the wine to breathe, and buried into the ground up to its neck. Kvevri are perfect in maintaining the optimal wine fermentation temperature of +15 Celsius. A traditional Georgian family had its own vineyard and its own winemaking recipe. Grapes are placed into a trough made out of a tree trunk and crushed with bare feet so as not to damage the seeds. The grape juice poured through the holes into the kvevri, which were stored in special storages, marani, sealed tightly for 6 months. In 2013, this unique method of kvevri winemaking was granted the status of Intangible Cultural Heritage by UNESCO. A famous Georgian treat, churchela, is also made from grape juice and nuts. Distillation equipment was used to make a stronger beverage, grape brandy, from wine. The harvest and grape pressing festival was always accompanied by a traditional feast, supra. This luxurious repast always included grape brandy, which was called Kapcala in our family. These traditions remain intact up to the present day. The recipe of Kapcala, our traditional family spirit, has been carefully guarded since the 15th century and was passed on from father to son. This brandy, or burnt wine, is manufactured by double distillation. Young wine is warmed up on a wood-fired stove in a vessel made of copper, a metal that neutralizes harmful toxins. As it passes through various parts of the device, pure alcohol is separated from the wine, and as a result, the flavor, the aroma, and the therapeutic qualities of the wine are transferred to the brandy. For the purpose of ultimate evolution and saturation, this precious beverage is infused with walnuts, and only nuts and brandy are in contact during maturation. The luxurious packaging is the final detail in the history of this magical elixir. Our brandy is poured into handmade Bohemian glass bottles. Kapcala Distilling, monastic traditions and superb quality since the 15th century.